We're live. Oh,
Yay. Hi, guys.
hi.
Hello, I'm Danny Hampton. I'm a mom of 3.
I'm Christina Stiletti, and I am a mom of 1.
And we're here to talk to you all about traveling with your baby, especially as the holidays approach. It's going to be a busy time.
So we'll have some practical tips, and then also some more like Zen Mama tips. Today on our Instagram stories, we are going to put a bunch of links to our blog with all kinds of practical tips, a lot of things that we're talking about today, but also some tips about how you can take care of yourself as a new mom to really stay calm while you're traveling and also during the holidays. We have an awesome article on our blog from psychotherapist Abby Bird, who specializes in postpartum mental health. 12 tips for preventing holiday stress and depression in parents. And it's an amazing article, and I almost feel like everyone should read it, whether you're a parent or not.
Every person.
But
it's helpful.
So we'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll talk about some more practical tips, because I think I only have one, but I traveled a lot when my daughter was a baby. We really took advantage of the fact that I know this sounds crazy, but it's actually easier. I found that it was easier to travel with my daughter when she was a baby versus once she started walking.
Yeah, so I have 3 kids, like I said, and I have, an almost 8-year-old, 5-year-old, and a 20-month-old. So when my 3rd child, who's now 20 months old, was born, we always take a East Coast trip, like for an extended period of time. And she was born in March, and we were taking this trip in May. And I remember people were like, you're going on a 4 or 5 week trip with your, 2
Tiny baby.
Tiny
Yeah.
baby. And I was like, yeah,
It's the best time.
It's the best time.
Yeah.
You wear them the entire time. They're snuggled up close to you. For me, it's always been something that I've always told my mom friends, like, don't be scared of traveling with your little ones, especially in the beginning when it seems like it might be scary. Just keep them close to you, especially with baby wearing
My
it.
daughter's first airplane trip, granted it was an hour-long flight, was at 10 weeks old.
Yeah.
And it was actually so easy because she nursed the whole time.
Totally.
So let's start off. Let's talk about the giveaway.
Oh, yes. Great.
So we're going to have a giveaway.
That's really good.
Comment below on where you're traveling this holiday season. Are you going to fly? Are you driving? So just comment below. We'll say this a few times during the live, but comment below on where you're traveling this holiday season.
Yep.
And you are eligible to win if you haven't won anything from us in the past 3 months, so that's 90 days. So you can comment anyway, but or comment if you have a tip, but tell us where you're traveling, and you're eligible for this giveaway as long as you haven't won anything in the last 3 months.
Perfect.
And you're talk about what we've got?
Okay, so we have this amazing diaper bag, and I love this diaper bag, number 1, because it's cute. I love how it's just
low pro. It's low profile. It doesn't
Yeah.
scream like, I'm a diaper bag.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I'd use this. I don't really use a diaper bag. After 3 kids, it's so funny. I like more backpack type stuff. In the very beginning, I wanted like a big, bulky diaper
This
bag.
one turns into a backpack, though.
Exactly. So
Oh,
you can have both.
that's where you're
That's one of my
going.
travel tips. I'm going to go there in a minute. And the best part of this, you also can do crossbody, like a messenger bag, backpack. You can carry it from the top. It's just amazing. And it's so cute. So anyway, you'll get this backpack, diaper bag.
And a cute little pouch with some mama self-care items, which Danny will talk about, but I'll also talk a little bit more about self-care tips for mama, because really, on the plane, they tell you, put your oxygen mask on first before you help your child. And that's true kind of every day. Taking care of yourself and making sure you've eaten, you've had enough rest. I know that's hard for new moms, but really, eating and having stuff on the go. So we have a few things in here to help with self-care while you're on the plane. We have our friends over at Manitoba Harvest give us these little hemp hearts. And these are awesome when you're traveling. Like sometimes I take those little peanut butter things and I'll either put it on an apple or I'll just eat the peanut butter. But you can sprinkle these on here and it adds like 10 grams of protein, which when you're traveling is so awesome. You can also throw them on a salad or yogurt to get some extra protein. And then I'll let you talk about the other little self-care fun items in there.
So one of my favorite things to do when I'm traveling is to use my essential oils. It's a big part of my life, and these rollers are amazing. We'll link my whole oils thing below, but basically what I do is this is my favorite one. It's called Tranquil. It has lavender and cedarwood in it. It's very relaxing. I like to roll it on myself. So I'll put it on my neck and my chest, and I'm wearing baby, so baby gets to also enjoy all those relaxing
Breathe it in
things.
from your body.
Exactly, breathe it in from my body. So that's one of my big tips. And if you win this giveaway, you get to have a set of 2 of my favorite roll-ons, Tranquil and Stress Away. Obviously, we want to feel tranquil when we're traveling and have all the stress away. So you're going to win this prize pack. It's awesome. So make sure you leave a comment below. Tell us where you're traveling this holiday season.
Because Mama's got this.
Yep, Mama's
got this, Mama.
Yes. So we'll put this to the side for now, and we'll hop right to our content. But don't forget, comment below.
Cool. Okay. So that's kind of my first tip, really, is on sort of the, like, you know, the more woo-woo side of things. But I do think that, you know, our mind, body, spirit is all connected. And
They feel it.
Exactly. The baby can feel your energy. So if you start, you know, getting nervous or anticipate, stop. Take 3 really deep breaths, like those kind of breaths that you really feel in your diaphragm. And that literally, when you breathe in and, like, touch, those breaths will kind of hit your vagus nerve, or your vega nerve. Vega?
Your nerve.
Vegas.
Your Vega.
Vega. Anyway, I can't remember but it's the nerve that's running down the back of your spine. When you breathe in, that literally tells your body everything is okay.
You had it right. The vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve, thank you. Look up Abby Bird on our blog. She talks a lot more about that because that's where I learned this tip. But really breathing into your body before you go to the airport, while you're at the airport, while you're packing, really stay focused on your body and how calm and centered you are. And also bring lots of water. I know that, you know, you can't travel through check points with this, but bring an empty bottle, and a lot of airports have bottle filler
One
uppers.
thing I'm going to add, though, and this is from my experience, and I haven't nursed in maybe, you know, a few months, but you can bring whatever water you need through checkpoint as long as it's for your baby. Or for you as a breastfeeding mother, or as a mother.
Check with your airport.
Check with your airport first, because I hope this isn't fake news. But that has worked for me in the past, and they've allowed me to bring it through.
That's cool.
So
Good
just
to know.
keep in mind, just in case. Check it and see.
Well, now that we're actually talking, and I'm going to just throw these tips. These are some of my favorite.
We got your questions, you guys, too. So we're kind of like working your questions, and we got so many. So we're kind of just going through it and working
talking about our favorite tips. Also remember, this too shall pass. This is a, you know, it's an hour-long flight. It's a 6-hour-long flight.
12-hour flight.
This too shall pass. It's not going to be like this the entire time.
Right.
Baby's going to pick up on your mood. Also, let go of expectations. I think that's kind of something, just parenting in general, my favorite tip is really letting go of your expectations or lowering your expectations, because the higher expectations you have, the more stressed you're going to be if you don't meet those expectations. So really just accepting things and rolling with them and doing your deep breathing and making sure you eat something, even if it's just peanut butter.
And my husband always says, we always say to each other, let's keep those expectations super low, so then when they're exceeded, we feel really excited. We're like, yes! So we just do that. And let go of those expectations, because really you can't predict the future, what's going to happen. And when you start getting stressed, and I know all of you parents know this, for me, I can start feeling that, and I get really sweaty, and then I'm wearing my baby, and I'm sweaty, and then I have other 2 kids, and it just turns into this like domino effect, and then they start getting stressed out. Right. See me, I'm getting stressed out. But just deep breathe, and it's like the simplest thing. And then if you have oils or whatever tools that you use to calm down, it's just such a nice thing that ripples out through your whole family, whether that's you and your child, you and your partner, whatever it is. It's great. Just relax.
So I'm going to throw in one more tip, and then we should also talk about wearing your baby through the checkpoint.
Yes.
That's a big one. It's a big question a lot of people ask. But my first tip is definitely plan ahead. If you can, know the airport you're going to. See if they have curbside check. We'll talk about curbside check in a minute, because I think curbside check is like a savior for parents. Mm-hmm. Also, the safest place for a baby is in the car seat. I highly recommend on the plane. The safest place for baby on the plane is the car seat. I highly recommend. Ergobaby recommends that you purchase a seat for your baby. Use the carrier through the airport to navigate all of the craziness. But once you're on the plane, use the car seat. The baby's used to the car seat. The baby
might be comfortable to sleep. It's 100% the safest place for your baby on the plane. While you're, especially during takeoff and landing. If you don't buy a seat for your baby, I can't tell you what to do, but if you don't buy a seat for your baby, it is against FAA regulations to wear your baby on takeoff and landing. A flight attendant will ask you, if you are wearing your baby during takeoff or landing, a flight attendant will ask you to remove your baby.
I'm not going to tell you.
I'll tell them what I would do.
Okay, great.
So from my own personal experience, not speaking at all from Ergobaby's standpoint, from my experience. What I would do is wear the baby all the way through. We'll talk about security checkpoint in a second. But you wear the baby through, get on the plane. I wait until that last minute, and then I simply unclip, put the carrier down, and keep the carrier on. Hold my baby. As soon as we're to 10,000 feet cruising altitude, I believe it is, I would just put the arm straps right back on and strap it on. And that's always been fine for me over the past 8 years. And that's my personal experience. So that's the best way. Some people ask, like, well, I have one with a Velcro strap, so how do I take it off without waking up my baby if they're still asleep? Just don't take the carrier off. It's comfortable. You just sit back and you just have it around. And it's also nice if you have to get up. You're just ready to go.
Around your waist.
Yeah, it's already there.
Exactly.
And that's the same thing with a wrap, right? So if you're doing a wrap, you just have it already wrapped on, and you just don't take it off. So it's already there accessible for you.
And you can do with a baby, you can do pre-boarding, family pre-boarding. And in my experience, traveling with a car seat, what I would do is I'd keep my daughter in the car seat till the very last minute. Even when I traveled by myself with no other grown-up adult help, such a mom. I would ask the flight attendant to help me put the car seat in. And I've never had anyone say no. They've always been super sweet.
Ask for help, you guys.
I ask for help.
Like, you know, all of us probably who are watching are parents, or going to be parents one day, parents to be, and you know, you want to help people. So you have to remember, people want to help you. So if you're struggling in any way, maybe you didn't adjust your back clip on your carrier, you just want to clip it for you. Just ask. Yeah. People are so happy to help, and especially when there's a cute baby involved.
Totally.
I love helping.
So when question about car seat. One mom is asking, she said, I don't think that they let you put the baby in the car seat.
They call your airport, call your airline ahead of time. But as long as your car seat has the sticker that it's FAA regulated, you should bring the car seat on the plane. And what I would do is, here, let me walk you through my tips, because then I'll talk about curbside checking. I'm traveling by myself. I have my daughter's bags. I've got my daughter in the carrier, and I have a backpack on, and I'm holding our car seat. I go straight to the curbside check. I have cash to give those guys because curbside check is free, but you got to tip them. Mm-hmm. So I would always make sure I had cash, but it's a goddess, universe, godsend, whatever. It's the best. Curbside check, you go in line, they take your bags right then and there, they check them through, and then you're done with your luggage. So I would walk through the airport, I would have my daughter on, and I'd have a backpack on, and then the car seat. Sometimes if I was really crazy, I would have one of the stroller things to put my car seat on, because you can also check the stroller part once you get to the gate. Then I would go through security. Now, it depends on the airport. It varies from airport to airport, TSA agent from TSA agent. But my experience has been you can wear the baby through security, but what they will probably do is swab your hands. So I've never been asked to take my daughter off, but I've always been asked, they'll swab your hands. And then you walk right through, you put the car seat through. You can even ask the TSA agent, say, hey, can you help me put this car seat and backpack through? And they will help you. Then I check in at the gate and either check my stroller if I need to, or ask if there's family boarding. There's always family boarding, but I like to just check. I go on during the family boarding time. I check with the flight attendant, say, can you help me put the car seat in? Still wearing my daughter, put the car seat in. And then once we're kind of settled and before we start taxiing, I put her in the car seat for takeoff. Now, if she's wanting to nurse, I'll take her out and nurse her. Or if she's fussy, I'll put her back in the carrier and walk up and down the aisles if it's a longer flight. But if there's turbulence or anything like that, I put her back in the car seat. And she's always in the car seat for takeoff and landing. You can look these up. We'll put a link, actually. There is a link to the FAA requirements about not wearing your baby on takeoff and landing. But I just like to kind of let people know about that ahead of time. And that's kind of my quick walkthrough on my tips as far as yes.
So one thing that I love, two things actually now. With the Ergobaby carrier, you have the option to have a pouch on the bottom, which is a game changer. Because what I would always do, I never had that pouch. I think
you got a carrier,
I always would do a crossbody bag that I'd put right over the front of the carrier, so it'd have all my things right here that I could just grab, my license, boarding passes, etc. But now you can still do the crossbody, which is nice, but we also have this pouch right here,
and it comes right off.
It comes off, so it's so nice. So you don't have to be, taking your backpack off and swinging it around the baby and then
put your ID
getting your stuff
here.
out. You put your ID right in there, and it has a zip on top, so everything is easy. So all the things you're going to want right away.
Your oils,
your passport, your license, your boarding pass. Put it in the pouch. It goes right in here. Not only does it zipper, but it velcros right through. And you can buy these separately on the site if you don't have a carrier with one of these.
It comes with the Omni 360, but you can buy them separately, and it'll go on any carrier.
Yes.
It'll go on any original. I don't think I have it.
Can we put one of these in the giveaway too?
Sure.
We'll put one of these in the giveaway too. I feel like that would just be great. You get the pouch to put in your backpack with all the snacks and goodies, and you have this to put on the front for all your travel documents, which is awesome.
I'm not going to walk across the camera to find another carrier, but because of this little Velcro, look at your carrier. Every carrier, even going way back, has a little strip on it, webbing. It's usually webbing, and that's where this goes. So you can buy these.
And it does simplify. It sounds like such a simple thing, but you just having the things right there to grab is so easy.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in with
built-in fanny pack.
Oh yeah, question.
Some questions coming in here. So we have a lot of mamas here who are flying for the first time.
Yes.
So any particular words of wisdom for the first flight?
This too shall pass. Lower your expectations. Breathe. I kind of feel like we walked through a little. That for your first flight or a lot of it is managing managing your expectations.
I think also thinking about on a day-to-day basis. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the only thing that's different is that you are now caring for your baby in a small space. So that's the only thing that's different. If you just put your mind around it that way, you just think, okay, the only thing that's changed from our day-to-day routine is that we have our crib and we're just in this different space. So what do you need if you're flying from 8 to 12 today? What does your baby typically need from 8 to 12? And you kind of bring it down to that simple level. Your baby, let's say your baby is not an infant anymore and they snack from, they have a snack at 9:30 when they wake up. So you're going to bring snacks, you're going to bring this, you're going to bring that. Just think about it like that and it kind of makes it easier. Also, plan
or nurse. If you know your baby nurses like 10 when my daughter was 10 weeks old, she was nursing like the whole time through the flight. But, maybe an older baby is nursing from 8 to 12. They're only nursing twice. Right. If you don't feel comfortable, make sure you bring your nursing cover.
Right.
Or you can, what I actually used to do was I would put my daughter back in the carrier and stand up and walk on a longer flight and walk up and down the aisles and nurse her. Yeah. So we weren't, just so I could get up too and we weren't sitting.
So I always felt a little bit, so I typically will nurse wherever when I was nursing. But I remember feeling uncomfortable because the seats are so small. And I'm like, what if some weird guy sits next to me and then my boob's out, you know what I mean? And it's just so close and he's this far away. So what I would always do is I'd have my carrier on and then I'd take a big sweater like this. Yeah. And I would have the sweater over the carrier. So I wouldn't have to take off the carrier, take off my sweater. And I would literally just be like this. Yeah. And I would just make my own little space. And I didn't care if I pissed off anyone by being weird. But it's all about your baby.
Quick tip, nursing in the carrier, always wear a nursing tank that latches from the top.
So you just there and then
right there.
Whatever level of
and practice that. Mm-hmm. If you haven't nursed in the carrier before you fly, practice before you get on the plane. Same thing with the carrier. Somebody asked earlier which carrier is best for travel. The carrier that's best for travel is the carrier your baby's comfortable in.
Right. Don't do a new carrier.
Right. Don't use the carrier for the first time when you travel. If you know you're going to travel, let's say, if you've just got a carrier and you're traveling in 2 weeks, get used to that carrier. So that's one less thing that you're doing for the first time. So really get used to the carrier, get used to the baby being in the carrier and what that's like.
Absolutely, and I think that the practicing, I remember when I was a first-time mom, some of the simple things would stress me out. Thinking about how am I going to get my carrier back on if everyone's hurrying up to get their bags down. You think about these things.
Take 3 deep breaths
and realize that it's not a big deal.
Sometimes I would actually wait until everybody else deplaned, and then I would deplane last. And I'd even tell the flight attendant, I'd say, hey, I'm going to deplane last because I have my daughter and I'm going to take a little bit more time.
That's smart. I have another tip. I feel like we need to round up all of these tips.
Well, we're all going to have them.
Okay, great.
We're going to link all these articles in our Instagram stories. Plus, we'll put them in the comments.
Great. Okay.
Yeah,
perfect.
we'll put them in the comments.
A big one that I didn't think of until this happened to me is easy on, easy off shoes for security. Because especially if you're not taking your baby off. I have these Converse on. I don't know how low this camera goes, but the lacing up of your shoes.
Don't wear lace-up shoes.
Oh my gosh, you have this baby. You're trying to get around, and it's just a lot. So you just want easy on, easy off shoes.
Wear those cute mules. Those slides.
I like those Adidas slides, like the old school.
Or Birkenstock. Something that you can slide on and off.
On and off, and that isn't a big deal because that's just one more thing you can take off having to worry about. Just easy on, easy off shoes. Let's see. Another thing that I know we got questions about was how do I do diaper changes on the plane? That's something that I remember I didn't think about until I was on the plane for the first time with my child, and I was like, oh, I have to change their diaper. What do I do? But
most planes have in the bathroom, they'll have a seat, like there'll be the toilet and there'll be a table.
Right. I didn't even know that because I just went on and that was one thing I didn't think about. So I remember asking the flight attendant, I'm like, he has a dirty diaper. What do I do? And she's like, oh, honey. And she was so sweet. And she showed me, and you just pull it down. And then she's like, and I'll take the diaper when you're done.
Aww, that's so nice.
And you just sit right there in the garbage, whatever. But it was not as hard as I thought it would be. You're just
a cramped space.
But
it's a cramped space.
You can do anything.
Yeah.
You're a mom. You're a dad.
Exactly.
Another question just popped through here.
Okay.
Can you have your baby on you for the whole flight, or do you need to buy a seat?
We recommend the best and safest place for your baby is in the car seat. However, according to FAA regulations, you may wear your baby, but not during takeoff and landing. So we'll make sure to put a link to this. You don't have to buy a seat. We just, at Ergobaby, recommend that you buy a seat. If you don't buy a seat, FAA regulations, the Federal Aviation Authority, I think is what it stands for, and we'll put a link to it. They just say that you may not wear your baby during takeoff and landing. I'm not going to say why because it's too morbid, but let's just leave it at that. You may not wear your baby during takeoff and landing, but those are the only regulations around baby carriers during the flight.
Right.
And so I got really serious right now when I said that, but I wanted to be totally clear.
But, I talked about earlier, if you're just chiming in, from my own experience, not Ergobabies, I've never done that, and I would always just wear my baby all the way through, take the straps off, sit there, and keep the carrier on, and then once we were at 10,000 feet, put the carrier straps back on and have my baby. And that's what I would do personally. But you do whatever is best for you.
Yeah, do what's best for you. But it isn't a law.
Yes, and then don't forget, you guys, if you are tuning in late, we are doing a giveaway, and we're giving away.
Because we're giving a giveaway because self-care is one of the most important things you can do for yourself while you're traveling.
Right.
And take care of yourself.
You have to pour into your own cup so then you can pour it out to everyone in your family.
Your cup has to be full.
Yes, it does. And you're going to look so cute traveling. It's going to make your life easier with this diaper bag backpack. It's amazing. You're going to win one of these just by commenting where you're traveling to or asking a question in this live, along with this awesome Mama's Got This Ergobaby pouch.
We'll also include one of the pouches that goes on the carrier.
The carrier pouch that goes right here. And inside the pouch, you're going to get one of our fave snacks around here. It's the Manitoba Harvest hemp hearts. These are so great to just throw onto some yogurt or in whatever you're doing.
Even a little bit travel peanut butter. That's my favorite tip.
Yes. And then I'm going to give you two of my favorite roll-on oils. And you are going to love it. It's going to help relax you and your little one when you're traveling.
Because baby will kind of pick up on your mood.
Right, so, and when you're rolling that on your own body, baby's right there and can just smell it, and it makes them feel real good. Okay, what else? Do you guys have any other questions that you like to ask?
Yeah, any other questions came through?
I do have some more questions. Okay. Thank you to everyone who's participating. Hi from behind the screen.
Behind. We'll
I feel like the Wizard of Oz.
I know. Behind the screen.
So we have a lot of moms who are commenting that are actually who are driving for the holidays. Yeah. So suggestions on driving.
Oh, yeah. So I live in a small town in northern Arizona. So my family lives 2 hours south of us. So, constantly traveling, driving all the time with my kiddos. Really for us, it's the number one thing, especially with holiday travel, if we're going maybe California or somewhere else, is trying to time our drives around nap schedules. So, or at night, like if you can just bust it out, you can maybe start driving like 6 or 7 whenever bedtime is and try to get some hours logged in. For us, that was always the best thing for us, is trying to do it around nap schedules or sleeping.
Yeah, my parents I live in LA and my parents live in Northern California, and it's about a 6-hour drive. So we did make that drive a lot when our daughter was a baby. A lot of it was letting go of expectations, kind of the same thing.
If you just pull over 6 times in 3 hours, then, oh well, you're going to get there eventually.
Yeah, that was for us, for a 6-hour drive, I set aside the entire day.
Right.
Really knowing, or even overnight, depending on how much time you have off, really just taking your time with the drive, because yes, we would plan it around nap time, but 6 hours is a long time. So we stopped a lot. I had to stop and, take her out and nurse her and walk around a little bit.
We call it slow travel in our family.
Exactly. That's a great, slow travel. That should be slow travel. Just like slow food. It should all just slow, easy does it, take your time, lower your expectations, don't try to get there so fast and because that's when you are going to start to feel stressed, your baby's going to start to feel stressed. Now, depending on the age of your baby, there's all kinds of other tips. We won't go into them now, but there's other tips that we can suggest. Maybe we'll do another live about traveling with toddlers, because there's all kinds of, I used to pack little pill cases full of different little, those little
gummies and stuff.
The little puffs. And my daughter would spend 20 minutes just getting them open, So there's stuff like that we, depending on the age of your baby, but kind of on today, we're really focusing on babies. But we can definitely do another. You'll just have to come back up and we'll do another Facebook Live. Maybe you can even bring your toddler and we'll demonstrate.
Oh, gosh. I was thinking for a second Charlie, my middle child. I'm like, because he's just, he's 5 now. He's not even a toddler. In my mind, though, he is. So I'm like, oh, Charlie, no, your third.
Your baby.
Yeah, my baby.
Maybe all of these same tips apply, but we have one mama who is traveling with her little ones, and also she's 8 months pregnant, so she'll be driving.
Oh, okay.
So any thoughts on road trips?
How old is her baby?
It looks like her kids are a little older.
Okay.
4-year-olds.
So probably all the bathroom breaks for mama and for the little ones.
Yeah. And eat, Mom. Make sure you eat and drink lots of water, which means you're going to take a lot of bathroom breaks. I'm going to take a swig of water.
My thing, especially for traveling with, toddler and up, is I'd always make little baskets for each kid in the car, and in the baskets we'd go to the dollar store, and I pick out some fun things. Maybe I'd even wrap them up, and something, and they can open up one every hour, and then some dollar store little books that are fun. Making it fun. We're not about doing the iPad on drives, because I feel like I'm so old school. I'm I want them to look out the window and be bored. That's what I like. So I always try to think of different ways.
Yeah, we're a screen-free home. Yeah. We just are, and
and screens are okay too. Everyone does whatever's best for
works.
them.
And that was a little bit too with what I was going to say. Those for a screen-free home,
right? But
sometimes all bets are off
on
a flight or a drive, all those weird plastic toys that I would never buy my daughter.
Right.
I bought them all for the 6-hour plane ride or the 6-hour drive, and I loved your idea of wrapping them.
Oh yeah,
then she could.
It's so fun, you guys. Yeah. So I do that with my older kids. They won't go with me. I'll go to the dollar store and buy just these fun things that they always want, and then we don't always get, and I'll wrap them up. And every hour, I'm like, okay, you guys have been so kind to each other. You've been doing such a good job. Here's your next one. And it's so unlike what we do in our normal life. Every hour, I'm not here's a new present. Everyone gets a present. Right. So it's so fun. And it's something they look forward to. I haven't done it in a long time, so that reminds me I should do it.
Yeah, it's good.
And then also sometimes it's fun to, we don't typically do, like I said, the iPad thing, but maybe we would for a really long one, because it's mixing it up and it's something fun. And guess what? Because we don't always do it, they're going to be whoa, this is, we're going to pay real close attention to this. Yeah, something new. So. Try something new, try to make it interesting for the kids. As far as car travel, I would just say really noise-canceling headphones for yourself. Just kidding. What else do you think for driving? Just taking it slow.
Taking it slow.
Yeah. Any other questions, Whitney?
I think we've covered most of them. Actually, here's one that just came through. Maybe we can kind of wind down with this. you talked about breastfeeding, but how hard was it for you both to breastfeed on the plane?
For me, it was super easy. I actually had, because I had purchased an extra seat, I had more room. Right. So because of when you do purchase a seat, the car seat always has to be on the aisle. So I would have some, if it's 3, I would have someone next to me. But I never really had an issue. And for my daughter, it was always kind of, a source of comfort. Right. If you're not nursing, the bottle. But I also had another mom who, again, check with your practitioner. But, ear pain is an issue. I personally didn't give Motrin to my daughter, but another mom suggested that, she checked with her doctor first, and we definitely recommend checking with your doctor first, but she gave her her baby a little bit of Motrin because she had such bad ear pain, pressure. And, drinking definitely relieves that, but a tiny baby is not going to be able to, suck on a mint or anything like that. Right. So check with your doctor for sure, but for me, I had no issues nursing on the plane.
And if you're not nursing, bottle feeding, whatever is making that jaw, move and do that. But for me, I thought it's hit or miss whether it's difficult or not. And I think that there's been a couple occasions when I've traveled where it was difficult, and I felt like I was struggling with my nursing cover. I remember this one time in particular. I was traveling in Vancouver for an Ergobaby event, actually, with my youngest, and we're on the plane, and I'm not a big nursing cover person, but on the plane I always felt like I wanted that, just because I felt people were so close in my space. So I'd do it, and I remember she was struggling underneath and kind of crying because she wasn't used to it. I didn't practice before we went, so I remember just ripping it off and just being like, whatever, we're just going for it, and it was fine. Right. But it can be difficult, but I think it's that taking that breath and just realizing that your baby's hungry, and when you're not typically stressed out when you're feeding your baby, so all of a sudden there's this stressful thing, and it's new for them too, so it just goes right back to that basic thing of relaxing and making it as homey as possible. So if that means that you are bringing your nursing pillow on board. So I remember I did that in the beginning with Henry, and some lady was like, "That's the biggest neck pillow I've ever seen." And I was like, "I need all the support because they're so big, and it looks just like one of those huge neck pillows."
Right. That's so funny.
But I brought the nursing pillow with my first when we would travel because I just like having it. So it was one of my carry-on things that I bring, and I think if that helps you.
Or if you do bring a blanket that, that is a familiar smell.
Yes.
Also, one of Laura's tips, Laura was our educator, and she logged in a lot of miles, and we'll put the link to the article. If you are sitting next to a stranger, introduce yourself. Yeah. Hi, I'm Christina. This is my first time traveling with my baby.
Right.
And that will actually diffuse things. Because if you just say hi, look them in the eye, think about yourself. If somebody says hi, introduces themselves to you, that really automatically just kind of lowers the stress a little bit. And, we all want, connection in our day-to-day lives. And you're going to be sitting next. It doesn't mean that you have to chit-chat with this person the entire time. Just hi, nice to meet you. I'm traveling for the first time with my daughter. And I just thought, I wanted to introduce myself. And that's, and then you can put headphones on the rest of the plane ride if you want to. But it's always just nice because then it sort of diffuses things a little bit. And if baby's cranky, they've already met you and you guys have humanized each other to each other. And so it's easier to not, if I have met someone, it's so much easier to connect with them and not get angry if their baby starts to cry or whatever. And if they're really not happy about sitting next to a baby, they can ask the flight attendant to change.
Or you can just be like, "Can you hold my baby while I go to the bathroom?" And then just have them hold your baby and they'll get mated. Just kidding.
Well, you could. I've had people offer. I had this super sweet grandma who was like, "I'll hold your baby so you can go to the bathroom." And I was like, "All right." Yeah. Or sometimes the flight attendant would hold her so I could go to the bathroom. Because I travel by myself a lot,
Everyone loves babies. That's what I would say.
Totally.
Even if they don't know it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
We have one more great question to come through from Lindy. Thank you for your question. And she said, "My 7-month-old wants to taste and touch everything. Do you sanitize your seat area on the airplane before sitting down? What should I use, or what could I use to clean the tray?"
Well, this is a question for you.
I thought so.
Okay, so we'll put my link down here, you guys. But I am all about the non-toxic products. So there's one in particular that I really, really love. It's just a spray, but at the same time, I am not all about sanitizing everything. I think you do the best you can, but I always and still am with my kids, like, get those antibodies, get those germs.
It is built. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it is building their immune system.
Yes.
There actually is a study that babies who grow up with dogs actually have much stronger immune systems because they're getting so much dirt. I know this is so gross, but it's true. It's a study. I'll find the study and link to it. But
so don't feel stressed about that. Of course, there are some scary things out there, but don't think you have to over sanitize. However, there's something that I love to use called Thieves Spray. I spray it, I just wipe it down.
So good when you gave it to me last night.
No, it smells so good. So if you guys are curious about that, we'll link my page here. Just go follow my other Instagram, and I can give you any info on that. But that's my favorite to have. And there's some wipes too, so it's not like you are wiping down germs by adding more toxins that your baby is not going to put in their mouth. This is safe and awesome. So I guess long answer to a short question, but don't worry too much about that. And I think the best thing for that is really just having baby on you, and if you're really worried about it.
Yeah. And if you're nursing too, I mean, excuse me, breast milk is definitely one of the best. I can't think of the word right now, but immunity fighters. Mm-hmm. So maybe nursing them on the plane and that sort of thing.
Good question.
Yeah, awesome. So we didn't really talk about a ton, but there are this article by Abby, 12 Tips for Preventing Holiday Stress and Depression for New Parents, is an awesome article. We'll link to it. I'll just go through these really quick because they're awesome. So one...
Oh, wait, can I say one thing before we go? I forgot. One thing I wanted to say that I love to do when I would travel, especially if you have a connection or time before.
I didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
Have a connection.
Yes, have a connection so you can stop, get off the plane. Connections are good when you have a baby.
Connections are good when you have a baby.
So don't look for those non-stops. Break it up in a couple hours. And I would always bring a blanket that was like a double duty blanket. So a blanket that I might stick behind my back because I'm not used to sitting like this while I'm nursing and it hurts. I would stick the blanket, use as a cover. Then, in between flights or before when you're waiting to board or after when you have some time, the blanket can be on the ground and baby can stretch out. You want to have, break it up, and the blanket is like this multi-purpose thing you can use for everything. Yeah. And it's just really good to have a blanket on hand. So
our sister company, Tula, has some awesome blankets.
They do.
We'll link to them too.
Yeah.
But that's a great tip. And also, we didn't mention, but I know this sounds counterintuitive, but a connecting flight, a flight with a stop is actually, we did that all the time, especially if you're going across the country, like LA to Boston. Don't get a nonstop. Because if you have a connecting flight, not the kind of connecting flight where you're like running like a banshee trying to make it.
Or have 10 hours in between.
Right. Like something, a 2-hour connection, yes, it's going to make your day a little bit longer, but slow travel, deep breaths, slow travel. But it really will actually help. Your baby can get out, you can get out, you can walk. If your baby's walking, that's another. I mean, traveling with a toddler is a whole nother Facebook Live.
Wear them out and then get them.
Them back on the plane.
What time are we at? We are at 40 minutes.
40 minutes. So. Okay. Well, I won't go through all these tips then, but we'll put a link to it. But basically,
wrap up with this. I think that's a good one to wrap up with.
Put your going back to the beginning. Then put your oxygen mask on first. Always take care of yourself. Remember, you're not in a rush. How important is it? Just taking deep breaths, because the more calm and centered you are, the more your baby's going to be calm, because your baby's picking up on your energy. So really kind of have that mantra, Mama's got this, slow travel, everything is going to be okay.
You are a calm traveler, and your baby is an expert traveler.
Lower your expectations, and remember, it's going to pass. It's going to be over.
And get to where you're going.
You get to where you're going, and then you can deal with your family, and then you can read these tips.
And you're going to wish you were back on the plane.
Just kidding.
Okay, guys, well, happy holidays coming up so soon, and we have a lot of great content coming up around all sorts of things. And as always, please let us know if there's something that you want to see. We'd love to do it. And
for sure.
Don't forget to comment below
where you're traveling in order to win a backpack and a little travel kit with some oils and protein for the travel. Also, Thanksgiving is coming up, and Danny did an awesome series on our blog about wearing your baby and some Thanksgiving recipes. But they're awesome. So go look at that, and then we'll put a link to all the travel tips below, as well as on our IG stories.
And I will announce the giveaway winners tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time.
All right,
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.